I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. Everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. To know what you know, and what you do not know, that is true knowledge. By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. Better a diamond with a flaw than a pebble without. It is easy to hate, and it is difficult to love. This is how the whole scheme of things works. All good things are difficult to achieve, and bad things are very easy to get. When it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. If you think in terms of a year, plant a seed. If in terms of 10 years, plant trees. If in terms of 100 years, teach the people. Never contract friendship with a man that is not better than thyself. Only the wisest and stupidest of men never change. Success depends upon previous preparation, and without such preparation there is sure to be failure. When you know a thing, to hold that you know it. And when you do not know a thing, to allow that you do not know it. This is knowledge. He who exercises government by means of his virtue may be compared to the North Polar Star, which keeps its place and all the stars turn towards it. In a country well governed, poverty is something to be ashamed of. In a country badly governed, wealth is something to be ashamed of. Wisdom, compassion, and courage are the 3 universally recognized moral qualities of men. If we don't know life, how can we know death? The more man meditates upon good thoughts, the better will be his world and the world at large. To be wronged is nothing, unless you continue to remember it. Virtue is not left to stand alone. He who practices it will have neighbors. Humility is the solid foundation of all virtues. To see what is right and not to do it is want of courage or of principle. An oppressive government is more to be feared than a tiger. We should feel sorrow, but not sink under its oppression. You cannot open a book without learning something. The object of the superior man is truth. To see and listen to the wicked is already the beginning of wickedness. The gentleman would be ashamed should his deeds not match his words. Heaven means to be one with God. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential, these are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Never give a sword to a man who can dance. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. What you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. If I am walking with 2 other men, each of them will serve as my teacher. I will pick out the good points of the one and imitate them, and the bad points of the other, and correct them in myself. When anger rises, think of the consequences. The strength of a nation derives from the integrity of the home. He who learns, but does not think, is lost. He who thinks, but does not learn, is in great danger. Study the past if you would divine the future. Do not impose on others what you yourself do not desire. Old age, believe me, is a good and pleasant thing. It is true you are gently shouldered off the stage, but then you are given such a comfortable front stall as spectator. The superior man understands what is right, the inferior man understands what will sell. To see the right and not to do it is cowardice. They must often change who would be constant in happiness or wisdom. A superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. When we see persons of worth, we should think of equaling them. When we see persons of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. It is more shameful to distrust our friends than to be deceived by them. If you look into your own heart and you find nothing wrong there, what is there to worry about? What is there to fear? The expectations of life depend upon diligence. The mechanic that would perfect his work must first sharpen his tools. Death and life have their determined appointments. Riches and honors depend upon heaven. To go beyond is as wrong as to fall short. The superior man thinks always of virtue. The common man thinks of comfort. Learning without thought is labor lost. Thought without learning is perilous. Ability will never catch up with the demand for it. I want you to be everything that's you. Deep at the center of your being. Faced with what is right, to leave it undone shows a lack of courage. The superior man makes the difficulty to be overcome his first interest. Success only comes later. To practice 5 things under all circumstances constitutes perfect virtue. These 5 are gravity, generosity of soul, sincerity, earnestness, and kindness. When you are laboring for others, let it be with the same zeal as if it were for yourself. The faults of a superior person are like the sun and moon. They have their faults, and everyone sees them. They change, and everyone looks up to them. Virtuous people often revenge themselves for the constraints to which they submit by the boredom which they inspire. The superior man does not, even for the space of a single meal, act contrary to virtue. In moments of haste, he cleaves to it. In seasons of danger, he cleaves to it. He who acts with a constant view to his own advantage will be much murmured against. The book salesman should be honored because he brings to our attention, as a rule, the very books we need most and neglect most. I am not one who was born in the possession of knowledge. I am one who is fond of antiquity and earnest in seeking it there. He who speaks without modesty will find it difficult to make his words good. The superior man is distressed by the limitations of his ability. He is not distressed by the fact that men do not recognize the ability that he has. I will not be concerned at other men's not knowing me. I will be concerned at my own want of ability. Go before the people with your example and be laborious in their affairs. Look at the means which a man employs, consider his motives, observe his pleasures. A man simply cannot conceal himself. The firm, the enduring, the simple, and the modest are near to virtue. To those whose talents are above mediocrity, the highest subjects may be announced. To those who are below mediocrity, the highest subjects may not be announced.